Good afternoon, everyone. This is a recording of the MIS 304 second exam review. That's the Access exam. And I've already posted a review under exams, and it's titled Access Review Exam Spring 2014. So you need to download all three files that are needed: the text file, the Word document that has the questions, and the Access database. In front of you is the Access database, and we'll go over the questions one by one. First question asks you to save the file as Access Review Exam and underscore your last name. So you'll click on Enable Content and click on File, Save Database As, and you will add your last name at the end. And then the second question asks you to open the employers table and choose a primary key. So we'll double click on the employer table. Remember that there is no way that you can assign a primary key in the data sheet view, that view where I see the actual data stored inside of the table. You have to go under the design view in order for you to be able to change the design. So now I want to choose a primary key. I'm going to click on the design view, and I will look at my fields. I have employer ID, a department, a street, a city, a state, a zip, and a phone. And I ask myself, which of these fields is unique to every employer? And the answer is the employer ID. So the employer ID is the primary key that is unique. And we talked about in class that a student ID or the student T number is a unique ID for every student. For the books, ISBN number is something unique for every book. So for that particular table, employee ID is the primary key. And I save and I close the employers table, and then it asks you to open the state and the positions table, and again click on design, and you ask yourself what is unique for every position, and that's the position ID. And you save and you close. Question number 6 says import the data in the states and province text. So if you double click on the state and province table, you see there is no data, and you are asked to import data into that table. Importing data is external data. It is outside. So I'm going to click on the external tab, and I am importing. It says in the question to import from the text file, so I'm going to choose text file. If the question asks you to import from an Excel sheet, then you will click on Excel. But for now, we'll click on text file, and it asks you to locate your file. So you'll click on browse and try to find your states and provinces, and it's right there. And the second part of the question asks you, do you want to import? And it's important that you read the options, because otherwise you may choose an option that's not correct. The default is to import the source data into a new table, but the question says import the data in the states and province table. So I cannot use that option. I will have to go with the append a copy of the records to the table, and it's not the employers table. It is the states and province table. So it's very important that you read the options. We are adding these records to an already existing table. That's the states and province table. It says the table is already open, so we need to close that table. And these are like the records. I'm going to repeat the step again. So we click on external data and text file, and we locate our file. And we want to append it to the states and province table. And it says here are the data that's in the file that you pointed to. So you click next. And Access is intelligent, so they say, okay, we are going to divide them into columns or into fields separated. As soon as we see a comma, we know that that's a new field. So it will be Alberta, and then AB, and then Edmonton, and then Strong and Free. So click next and finish and close. And I want to make sure that the data is imported, so I'm going to click on state and provinces, and here are my data. It's right there, everything is fine, and I have 64 records inside of the states and province, so everything looks fine. Now I want to build relationship between the tables. Remember, in building a database, the first thing is to define what tables do I have, define the structure of each table, and then you build relationship between the tables. Building relationships is under the database tools. So click on relationships, and you will click on show table and add all three of them. To build relationship between tables, you have to define or find something common in between them, because there is no way that you can build relationship between tables that don't share common attributes. So tables that have something in common can be joined. So looking at the employers and the position table, we see that employer ID is common. So to build the relationship, I'm going to take the employer ID from the employee table, and listen to what I'm saying. Take the employee ID from the employee table where it is primary, and put it on top of employer ID in the positions table. And we will enforce referential integrity, cascade update, and cascade delete. And all this is saying is that the two tables with regard to the employer ID will be consistent. That if I want to delete an employer, I'm going to delete all his positions. If I want to update, make changes to the employer, it will reflect on the position table. So this is just for consistency. And now, what is common between position and states and provinces? Nothing really. There isn't anything in common. So I know that I'm not gonna create a relationship between position and states and provinces. So I'm gonna move these far and make a space for states and province. And now, anything common between the two? Well, I have here employee state, and here I have state abbreviation and state name, and I'm not sure which one I should choose. So the easiest thing is to open the tables. Employer tables say the employee state is IA, IWI, so these are abbreviations. And I want to make sure that states and provinces, yes, so I have IA, so that's the state abbreviation. So what's common between the two is the state abbreviation. So the employee, the state abbreviation in the state and provinces is the same as the employee state in the employee table. So one thing you know, that the two fields don't have to have the same name. The name of the field is not important, but the content, what's inside of the field, must be the same. again, I want to make sure that you understand that part. So clicking on the employers table and the state and provinces table. In the employee table, under employee state, I have entries that must exist in the state and province. So let's see if we have WI. Yes, WI is Wisconsin. Do we have ID? And ID is Idaho, Illinois. So everything that's inside of the employer state already exists inside of the states and provinces, and that makes sense. So the relationships says that the state and province will have multiple employees. So Texas have multiple employers, and an employer will have multiple positions. Makes perfect sense. A state has multiple employers. So in Texas, we have ExxonMobil, we have Citgo, we have HP. All of these are employers in there. And every employer has multiple positions. So I'm going to save that and close the relationships. And now I'm ready to create the query. And the first query says that you want to create a query that lists the employee state, the department, the title, the career area, and the annual salary. And we'll take it step by step. It actually has more details, but looking at the report on the Word document, it has employee state, it has department, title, career area, and annual salary. So let's do that first. We'll click on create. So when you're solving the question, look at the look of the query and add these columns, and then think about how can you restrict to just health and safety and so on. So we'll click on query design. I want employee state, it's under the employers, and I want career area and annual salary, it's under positions. So looking, I need the employer state, double click on it, and then department, and then title, and then career area, and annual salary. And actually career area did not got pulled, so I'm going to drag it and put it before annual salary, and that will move annual salary to the right. Okay, now when we run it, we see I have all kinds of states and all kinds of departments, but in the question it says only show health and safety. When it says show only health and safety, that's a criteria. So I need to go back to design, and I'm going to add a criteria under department, and I will write health and safety, and I have to put it between double quotes because that's a text. Health and safety, and make sure that you type it the same way that it appears, otherwise it will not give you the right answer. So the H is capital and the S is capital. I want health and safety only, and I run, and now I can see only the health and safety. Okay, two things that I showed the earlier class is, what if I want health and safety but annual salary is also greater than 70,000? So I'm going to go under the criteria health and safety, and on the same row I'll go under annual salary, and I will say greater than 70,000. Do not put a comma or anything, just type in 7 and 4 zeros and run. And now I have only two, the psychologist and the health physicist, who are getting an annual salary above 70,000. What if I tell you either health and safety or education? So now either or will be on two different lines. So health and safety, and then on the second line that says or, put education. And run. And now I have either education or health and safety. Okay, so that covers how do I add criteria, how do I combine more than one criteria with an and, how do I combine them with an or. So for the purpose of the exam, we just have health and safety right there. And it tells you to save it as positions by state. So I'm going to save the query as positions by state. In question number 10, it says updated to where you add a calculated field monthly salary. So I have annual salary. I want to add monthly salary. Looking at the two tables, I don't have monthly salary there. So I need to add a new calculated field. I need to move my cursor to a new column. I first have to make sure that I've saved the query. So first thing, save the query, and then move your cursor to a new column and click on Builder. That's for defining a new column. And what is monthly salary? It is equal to the annual salary divided by 12. And I hit OK. And I run it. And I have a new column, and it has values, and it's titled expression 1. I need to change that to monthly salary, and I need to define these numbers as a currency, because annual salary is a currency. So we'll go to the design and we'll highlight that column. And we'll right click and we'll choose properties. And under caption, we'll change it to monthly salary. Remember, the caption is just the title for that column. And under format, we'll change it to a currency. And now we'll run. And everything looks perfect. I have the monthly salary. It is a currency and it's titled monthly salary, and everything looks fine. Okay, now I need to create a query to show the average, minimum, and maximum annual salary for each career area. So let's save this and close it. If we look at the report coming from that query, salary statistics, I see career areas, and I see salary as lowest salary, average salary, and highest salary. So I need to create again a query by design, and I'm going to add the position table because that's all I need. I don't need to add other tables. It said show the career area, so I'm going to double click on career area, and it says annual salary, the lowest, the minimum, the average, and the highest. So I'm going to click on annual salary 3 times, and please remember that on the exam, that when you want different measures for a particular currency or a particular field that has values, digital like numbers, then you need like to add it 3 times. Okay. But I need, as we said, the lower, the minimum, and the average. And if you remember from Excel, totals would allow me to choose the average, the minimum, or the maximum, or sum. So I can see now that there is a new column added, and that's group by. And it's added for all of them. So career area is a text, and you want to show the average, the annual, the maximum, and the minimum salary for each career area. So it makes sense to group by it. But for the annual salary, that's a number. I'm going to show the min and the average and the max. And I will run it. And again, it looks fine except for the headers. And if you leave the headers, you lose 2 points out of 10. In this case, it's out of 15. So 20% of your grade will go away because of the header. So you need to go back to the design. And I know caption will allow me to change the title. So I will highlight first column, and I will share under caption, I will type lowest salary, then highlight the next one, change the caption to highest, average, I'm sorry. Salary, and then the third column, change the caption again to highest salary. And let's run it. And I have now lowest salary, average salary, and highest salary. Okay, so that's all for question number 11. And it says sort the results by highest salary in descending order. So I'm going to go under design, and I will go under the sort row, and under the highest salary I will sort descending, and now run it. So I see highest salaries appearing at the top. The highest salary is in health, followed by human services, transportation, business, construction, information technology, operations, administration. The lowest is education. So now I need to save the query as salary statistics. And I'm ready to create the form. The form is job positions, and need to list a department, the title, the career area, the annual salary, employee street, the city, the state, the zip, and the phone. So click on create. I'm going to close that query first, and form wizard. And the first table that I need, it has the department. So either the employer table or the position table. So I'm going to go under employer and add department. And then it wants the title, and I know the title is under positions. So I'll add the title, and then career area and annual salary. And then for the employee state, the employee street is under the employer. Street, city, state, zip, and phone. And hit next. And it says, do you want to view your data by employers? So look at the department, the street, and hit next. and it says, do you want it in tabular form or datasheet form? So you can choose first the datasheet, hit next, and it says employers and the position subform. So it's titled job positions. So it actually created the form, but it looks different from what we have in here. So I can either change it in the design view. So I'm going to go under the layout view. I'll tell you what, because that will take a lot of time dragging them out. I can actually use the wizard to create it again. So let's do that. And if we choose we want to view it by positions, then that will bring all of them in a single form. And columnar is how we want to view it. And the title would be job positions. So here is my job positions, and now I'm going to delete this one. So that looks exactly how they want it. You can, if I ask you to change the way these look, so you can go to the layout view, and let's say career area, we need like to leave a space between career and area, and same thing for annual salary. And instead of imp street, we will just name it street, and same thing for city. So remember, you need to go to the layout view in order to make changes to the layout. So just like taking out the word emp. Okay, and now we go to the datasheet view, and it looks like this. Okay, so that takes care of the form. The last questions is creating the report. I'm going to close this, and the report is again click on create, and we'll go under report wizard. And if we look at the report, we have the state abbreviation, the capital, the country, and then the department, the title, and annual salary. So I need the state and province table. It starts with a state name, state abbreviation, a capital, a country. No, the motto is not there, the country. And then I'm going to go to the positions table, and I will take department and title. That's not state and provinces. department, title and annual salary. And then we're actually going to take that out of here, and after country we have department from the position. Oops. So they're asking, do you want to group by employers, by states and provinces, or by positions, or by state? And if you look at the report, you see that the grouping is done by state. So your state abbreviations, capital, and country appears first. And then you have your departments, which is this one, and then you have your title and annual salary. So what do you want to sort with? If you look, you see that they are sorted by title. I think it's by title. And you also have a sum for each state. So you can sum annual salary. And it asks you if you want it stepped. And you can see that it is stepped. That you have Iowa, Des Moines, USA, and then departments appear underneath it. So it goes underneath that. You look at the block, and it's actually all on one line, and then they don't repeat. And the outline is like a step also. And the title is Job Openings by Location. And you can see that I have a summary for each of the employers. And also I have an overlap between the state abbreviation and the capital. And it doesn't show the salary right now. So I need to do a lot of things. I need to remove the sum by employer. So I need to go to the design view and I want to make sure that the titles are not overlapping. Make sure they are also aligned underneath their title. And I need to put the department under the state abbreviation header. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gonna put the department and title and I will remove the employer footer. So for under the employer, I will click on the group and sort, and I will make sure that I don't have a footer, and I don't also need a header. So the header takes out the whole department, so I'm going to leave it. And for the state abbreviation footer, I'm going to sum, just have a title called sum. And make that smaller. Or if this is confusing you, because I think in question in lab 3 we just added a text box. We'll name the text 21 to sum, and the unbound will make it equal to sum, and it is annual salary. Okay, so we need to add the text box. And change that into sum, and then bound to an expression equal to sum, open the parentheses and in the bracket, and annual salary, and close the bracket and close the parentheses. Just make sure that you have wide enough. Yeah. So now when we look at it, you see that you have the value right there under each. You want to make it, move it to the right and make it a little bit smaller. And you can right click and choose properties and format it as a currency. So when you run it, now it shows the actual value as a currency. The title doesn't have enough space, so you may want to make it bigger. So going back to design view, I will move the title since it is on a different line, and then click on view, so it's now looking nice. You can also change the layout of the report so that it prints in under page setup. Instead of it being portrait, you can have it as landscape, and that will give you enough space to adjust everything. So now I can actually move annual salary a little bit to the right. Try and use the ruler at the top in order to align things. So now everything looks fine. Okay, so if let's say we want like to, I can see that it is grouped by department rather than by state. So let's save this one, and again the title doesn't look, it should say job openings by location. And we need like to say that you want to view your data by state, that you will have the state name, the state abbreviation, the capital, the country, and then the department and title and annual salary, and that you will sort by title, and you want to sum annual salary, and you wanted step. Let's try the block and see what will happen. And we wanted landscape, and we want the title job openings by location, and if you look, only thing that I don't need is the job that I don't need the sum. And you can see that there are 2 pages that the annual salary is not actually showing in here. So I need to adjust. And the annual salary didn't get and I need to remove the employer footer. And I'm gonna remove that thing and add a text field, and I will call that sum, and annual sum equal to sum, open the parentheses and put annual salary between brackets. Hopefully it will work this time. So let's move it. And let's view it now. So I have the states, the country, the department, and I have a total, and I have a sum for all of them. That's the block. We should have used the stepped. And I know that this video is getting long, but if you don't want them repeated, then you would use the stepped. Okay, that's all for the exam. So make sure that you watch the video and you answer all of the questions.